Hello everyone. Today I'll be reviewing the Vapid Winky based on the Willys Jeep and Ford GPW produced between 1941 and 1945. This vehicle was also produced after World War II for a little while, and then the Jeep company continued up until present day with its popularity and its utility usage for civilians as well. The Winky features a lot of great customization options, and it's just very nice to look at. It's accurate to the real life Willys Jeep. For those of you wondering why it's under Vapid, which is based on the Ford Motor Company, Ford in real life also had a contract with the military to produce these vehicles. Uh, so it wasn't just Jeep back then. But anyway, besides that, this features excellent customization. The performance I'll get into when I'm done customizing um, the Winky. I'll go into the engine detail and just the rest of the vehicle to look closely. But the customization options here, as I said, they're pretty accurate. There are some things I would have liked to see, such as a roof option or a hard top, also available in the real life vehicle. You could make yours similar to the civilian variant, which I might do after recording. I like to take pictures of these vehicles and post them on my community posts. So if you're interested in that, please check that out. But anyway, with all that rambling out of the way, I'm sure you were focusing on this customization. I hope you were, because many of these options are pretty good. Some of them I'm not gonna really choose. I might play around with this a bit more after recording, as I said. But you really do have a lot to work with here. Um, Not all of these Jeeps were similar. A lot of them had different options available. The blackout fenders, those are little spotlights to help you see, but they didn't give off too much light in real life to notify the enemies, so it was just enough light for you to see dark at night. Um, but anyway, with the grow options, you really have a lot to play with here. Well, I mean, four options are alright. They're not really that much, but I'm gonna choose the vertical grill. That's as close as you can get to the real life version. Anyway, you can choose to make this look like the civilian version, as I said. That version had a lot bigger uh, headlights that were a lot more round, a lot more bulbous. Um, but you can play around with other custom options here as well. The hood, I feel like some of these options could have been better. I'm not really a fan of the vents. It's cool that you have a shovel version available and the wheel mounted in the front. That's pretty cool to see. It's not my thing personally, but it's all a matter of personal preference, which is really the beauty of customization. I mean, you can do whatever you want with the options available. The lights come stock in yellow, but if you want, you can modernize it and make them xenons. For the liveries, now this part is pretty cool. You really have a lot to work with here. Uh, it all depends on what you're going for. If you're trying to replicate a real life build, you can, try to match it similar to the Vietnam era or the World War II variants as well. Or you can modernize it with these geometric and all those type of camo liveries. I do have three that I do not have unlocked, but most of those are just modernized. You really cannot tell what they are until you unlock them. That's not a big deal. I believe that this vehicle is still used today for practice, but I could be wrong. Most of these are just museum pieces or collectibles. I like the star. The star camo looks pretty cool as well, but I primarily like the star. It's very accurate to the real life vehicle. For the plates, I'm gonna change it to the yellow and black, which was available in the 1940s for all vehicles in California. You can add some searchlights on the top, but I'm personally not a fan of how they look. The suspension, you can get this pretty low, but I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna leave the stock ride height. For the rest of the engine tunes, they do help, but the vehicle is still relatively slow. I'll go into that in a bit. It's not really a big deal. Doesn't really ruin this car for me at all. For the wheels, I feel like the off-road tires are a bit too chunky, uh, but these options are still very solid. They look very nice. It all depends on the build that you're going for. If you want to make like a civilian build, of course, those wheels look pretty nice. But on the real life Jeep, the wheels were a bit thinner than this. But anyway, I'm gonna go out and quickly show you more. Detail is great and texture quality is decent. I say decent because the texture quality isn't the highest, but it doesn't ruin it for me. It's not a big deal. What's cool about it is that you can see the engine, the transmission, all that other detail, all that good stuff. You can even see through the engine bay. Not many vehicles have this feature where you can just see through. You can see the floor. That's just pretty cool. The interior model here is pretty nice to look at as well. It's not the highest texture quality as I said, but it's cool that you have some stickers in there, to give you information. The dials, uh, the shift knobs, all that stuff right there in the center. It's pretty cool. You cannot pull down the front windshield like you could on the real life vehicle, but it's not a big deal. The rest of it is just very nice to look at. This car is a solid collector's item. I'm sure many of you can agree. I'm very satisfied with it, and I'm sure many of you will be too. Speed is acceptable, and handling is great. The speed is what you'd expect how the real life car would perform. It's definitely not as fast. It was for its time, but this is like a four-cylinder from like the 40s, the 30s when it was designed. It's still a pleasant experience to drive. I really do not have any complaints at all. Despite its power, it's still an excellent off-roader. It gets great grip. It can really handle steep slopes and rough terrain. It has no problem at all. It does exactly what it was designed for. I'm very satisfied with it. It's still a very fun and solid choice for off-roading, for car meets, for any events that you plan to do with friends and other players. I'm sure many of you might agree with me as well if you feel like trying this vehicle out. It's still a great solid choice, especially if you're having fun in free mode, if you're just leisurely just driving around, whatever you want. But anyway, that's all I got for today. And as always, thanks for watching.